Welcome back to Seen It Before, where we're probably going to say something stupid about your favorite movie because we've seen it all before. I'm Danny.
I'm Dan, and I don't have any witty comeback today, so we are watching Black Adam. Or should I say we just watched Black Adam.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have like any expectations going into this movie.
No, I just remember I've seen the trailer like a bunch of times. I feel like this movie's been out on the trailer circuit or whatever you want to call it for like 2 years now. Like I feel like there's like finally we're finally getting to this movie, and and The Rock said like he was cast.
He fan cast himself like 15 years ago before he was really a big actor.
Yeah.
So
this was a long time coming, basically. So it's like,
yes.
I was almost not excited to see it though, because I've seen the trailers for so long. I'm just like, okay, it's that movie. You know what I mean?
Well, let's see if it's really that movie, because someone came back, and I'm sure you know it already because it leaked early. But let's get to it. Soups is back, baby. He is back. Henry Cavill made a little post-credit appearance here. And, see, I didn't know how it was going to happen. I didn't know if they were actually going to fight or not. But
I didn't think they were going to fight. I definitely thought it was going to just be like a lead-up to something. But I'm a little, I'm bittersweet about it, melancholic, because, I like that, Black Adam is going to fight Superman eventually. But I'm sad that it's Henry Cavill, because he's been treated like shit by this company, and it's this whole cinematic universe that DC wants to make just hasn't gotten off the drawing board. It's like it hasn't gotten off the ground. Nothing is so amazing that it can lift it off.
Well, as of recording, DC just announced today that James Gunn and Peter Safran have become co-CEOs of DC. Yes, James Gunn, the director. So that is crazy to think about, first of all. I didn't expect that news whatsoever. I thought he was just going to, I knew he was off the Marvel train. I knew he was doing Peacemaker and probably season 2 whenever it comes out, but I didn't think he was going to do anything more with the company, that he enjoys working there that much. I mean, I guess they can treat him well. Maybe they'll actually learn to treat Henry Cavill well.
Yeah.
That remains to be seen, though.
It's just, this is such a train wreck. We need a reboot for the entire DC universe. So it's like, we're going to talk about Black Adam eventually, but again, it's just like, it's good. It's not great. It's not bad. It's just a movie. It's a superhero movie.
It's there.
You know what I mean? And DC has never hit those heights that Marvel consistently hits on a regular basis. Like the worst Marvel movie is the best DC movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The Batman is like a weird exception, but that's not part of the DC extended universe. It's not, so they just need to scrap this whole thing, and I'll get into the reasons why Marvel succeeds over DC later, but they just need to scrap this whole thing. And I'm sorry, Henry Cavill's a great Superman, but he's just not, everybody else has not been behind him. And that's the reason why it's just hasn't worked.
Well, I think since the Justice League, Snyder Cut came out, I think people have gotten behind him again, but they weren't for the longest time until that came out, because...
Well, when I said everyone behind him, I meant the writers and producers.
Oh, okay.
I don't mean the people. Everyone loves him.
Okay.
I love him as Superman. He's a great Superman. But he's never been supported on the writing side.
Yeah.
He was supposed
Superman's
to headline
a hard
this whole
character
thing.
to write, first of all.
Yes, but you have to understand, that's why people like Zack Snyder, for all he's trying to do with Superman, I'm not even a huge Superman fan, but I've heard passionate Superman fans say that just making him dark and gritty, that's not Superman. And you can't just have him fight somebody who's super strong and have him overcome that, because he's literally Goliath. He's not David, He is gonna, he has to have some sort of moral issue.
Man, I really wish we had our guest we had planned for this episode on, because he's a huge Superman fan.
Yeah.
So this would have been a great conversation to have with him. But alas, things never work out. So
I'm just saying, this post-credit scene doesn't get me excited too much of what's going to happen. It's kind of just like, oh, okay, we're going to get it.
Yeah, just like eventually the Flash movie. that is supposed to have Ben Affleck come back.
Well, we already know that it's not going to have a sequel because the main actor is in jail and should be in jail.
Yeah, he's not in jail yet, but yeah, he should be in jail. Yeah.
Yeah.
As recording, he's not in jail.
I know it's not going to get a sequel, and if it does get a sequel and they recast him, it's going to look messy either way. So I don't really want it, you know? Everything, DC just hasn't had good luck. You know, it just sucks.
All right, enough on the DC shit wagon. So we got obviously Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam,
which I
he's
think
all right.
I think he looks the part. I'm not a Black Adam fan. I've never read any of his comics. But like Dwayne Johnson, I always get kind of like fake edgy boy, like WWE, like angry. I know that's where he comes from.
Angsty.
But like it's so cringy and cheesy. His like
smell it?
His
smell that? Smell what the Rock is cooking.
Okay.
Sorry.
he's just like juvenile, like or edginess. You know, it's not like he doesn't have that spark, that thing that makes him truly menacing. So it's just kind of like,
well,
I know this movie's meant for younger audiences.
I don't think it is. Dude. All
at
that,
the same time,
dude, there was a crazy amount of violence that Black Adam inflicted on people.
Yeah,
and it was pretty brutal for PG-13 in some parts, especially at the end when he ripped the devil in half. But
yeah,
you know,
that I'm just like, okay, we're going full on with this. Like that's cool. Okay.
It was pretty cool, man. They used fire and magma as his blood, which is how they get away with it. But like, hey, if it works, it works, man.
It's like
what Werewolf by Night did with making it in black and white, so they can get away with.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah. But see, that's another smart thing so I would assume that like you would just make them aliens or have a different colored blood or magma.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you get away with it.
But like Marvel innovating, making it black and white. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like Tarantino had to do that for Kill Bill.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's different. It's, you know, that's why Marvel just succeeds over DC. I know you want to get to but so Black Adam or Teth Adam, as he's known in the movie, until the end. Yeah. I like his origin. It's a little different from the average parental figure dies and then they become a superhero. It's different from that in the fact that like I like the fact that he's not a good man, and he just wants revenge, and then his son is actually kind-hearted and truly the champion, but out of the true kindness of his heart and dedication to his cause or whatever you want to call it, gives his powers to his father, and then his father has to live with that. It's kind of like it's a nice burden thing that he's got going on.
Yes,
you know?
I really liked the way they did that. That was that is how they do it in the New 52 comics with Black Adam. But it's his nephew who receives the powers instead of his son. Then Adam kills him to take them for himself. That's how it goes in the comics. So it's kind of similar, but not really, because...
So that would be making Black Adam like more of a villain instead of an anti-hero, which he definitely kind of is in this movie.
I like that they chose that route and they, didn't have him kill his son.
That would be ugly. So I also like this is a pretty long movie considering for like a...
It's 2 hours.
Oh, it felt a little longer than
4 minutes.
But they were able to kind of create this extra world. It's Kahndaq, which is like it's like a basically Middle Eastern country. It looks like
kind of had to do with Wakanda and all that stuff.
That kind of thing. They were able to really flesh out that area, or at least the conflict. Maybe not the people so much, but they were able to get like there's a tyrannical government. There's an ancient like prophecy, and then there's an ancient kind of like conflict going on there with Black Adam himself and the wizards and stuff. So they were able to get that across in 2 hours and make it feel sort of lived in. It did an admirable job for what it could have been.
Yeah, see, the movie it kept moving though, and I liked that until they put him away in the tank, which I thought was the way they're going to end the movie. But
yeah, I knew it wasn't going to happen because it was way too abrupt.
Yeah,
it was just like, oh, I have no powers. Okay, he's going in.
Yeah, it was very well paced, I would say, until that point, because they kept going with the plot and it kept rolling, and like it still made sense the way it was going. But yeah, then that part came along where they had to do the whole. I don't know. Well, let's move on from Black Adam. Let's go to Dr. Fate, Pierce Brosnan, because this kind of relates to that. So
the entire movie, I was kind of like upset that like. Because I thought he was in Doom Patrol, but that was the other James Bond, Timothy Dalton.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why are they recasting? Oh my! And so I just realized. But yeah, Jesus Christ. I don't know anything about Dr. Fate. I don't know anything about any of these characters other than Superman and Shazam, who's sort of not really. He's not in it.
It's a different religion version of Shazam, basically. It's a different.
He's
gods.
He's a different champion. Yeah.
Different gods. Yeah.
So it's the same. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh my God, that's another thing I gotta write down.
So, what was I saying?
Keep going. Oh,
Pierce Brosnan. So,
yeah.
Dr. Fate. I want to get into him because, like, he had a great arc, and they sold it on me that, like, oh, he's sacrificing himself because he's like I can sympathize with, like, like you ever read like Tuck Everlasting?
You think I read?
Okay, well, I had to read it for school.
No, I have not.
It's basically the burden of immortality, and so in a way, so like everyone who there's a burden for immortality when you live long, you always see your loved ones die instead of dying with them.
Immortality.
So that's what he's saying with like he can see into the future. It's a burden, just like I know how everyone's going to die, and I can't do much to save them.
They have to be the one to change it,
right?
If you had a second to change your fate, brave.
Would you? So
I never seen that movie.
They sold me on him, on his whole arc being like, okay, I finally don't have to. I don't see anything at the end of the tunnel, and it's nothing. It's beautiful. Yeah, and like that was like heartwarming. But then I like the whole movie. I'm just thinking like, I know nothing about this guy. And I was thinking how much again.
See Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Okay.
The whole thing is though, it's like if Marvel's done this way better though, because I was just trying to think like I don't know how Hawkman has his powers. I don't know how this fake Ant-Man has his powers. I don't know how I don't know how any of them get their powers. I don't know their origin.
Well, you get Atom Smashers because his uncle get.
I can assume. I can assume that, like, how did he get the power? I can assume that, we know about Hank Pym. We know about Scott Lang. We know their backstory and stuff. That's what I'm saying. Like, Marvel takes the time to go in depth with these minor characters. Like, think of how much better this movie would be if you truly understood every character and then Dr. Fate sacrificed himself. How more poignant would that be? You know what I mean?
Would be? Yes. No, I agree.
That's DC's problem. They rush all their stuff. They want to have the big team up immediately, and it doesn't make any sense. That's why Suicide Squad was okay, but like we only really cared about Harley Quinn because you've seen her in another movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I liked Cyclone and how they sort of half-assed explained her backstory. Like they didn't show it, but they half-assed explained it at least.
I missed.
She was kidnapped at 15, and then by this crazy doctor or whatever. And
how cool would that be to see?
Yeah, well, it might be a little more than a PG-13.
I'm not. Yeah,
I know.
But like, you know what I mean? So it's like what's Hawkman's motivation? He's just.
Yeah, I see that. I had to look into him a little bit and how he's from he
just is this guy,
Yeah, he's just kind of there.
And that's
he's from Egypt. I know that.
And it's nothing against the filmmakers. I definitely put this on the producers of all these movies because they don't know how to build. The director and writer did the best I think they could by introducing all these people. Because, again, the focus is on Black Adam, and they did a pretty good job of. So, I don't know. It's just like, if this was Marvel's universe, imagine if we got the origin story for, like, an anti-hero. But it's him versus the Avengers for like half the movie. But you care about everybody. You don't want them to fight. But then eventually they come to I think that would be way better if we just knew who these guys were.
So maybe when Deadpool kills the Fox universe, when that happens.
That might be. I can see it's already teed up. We already know. We already don't know Deadpool. Even if we didn't know Deadpool himself, we know the Avengers.
Yes,
and we can use them as a backdoor kind of thing for Deadpool and to be
because it's so well built as a universe.
Yes, it's just DC, get your shit together, man. Like, it's just disappointing because I like the whole there's like a saying where like Marvel's about humans being gods, and then DC's about gods being humans. I think gods being humans is a little more interesting than humans being gods, because it's like they're trying to relate to our problems instead of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. I
just think DC has a better bedrock based on like Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and Aquaman. I know them more than I knew Captain America and Iron Man.
Yes, but that's
Spider-Man, of course,
did a better way of explaining it and bringing it to light.
It all comes down to writing.
Comics did better with DC,
right?
So more people know them because everybody knows Batman, everybody knows Superman, everybody even knows the Flash, for crying out loud, because of the TV show. So
like I know the Justice League before I knew the Avengers.
Me too.
And now I love the Avengers way more than the Justice League, because Kevin Feige, he makes questionable decisions here and there, but
he gets the job fucking done.
He's been headlining this thing since 2008, and it really hasn't missed until like the past 2 years, when that's debatable, DC, I think imagine if the Avengers flopped. That's what happened to DC. Their Justice League movie flopped. Nobody gives a shit. That's just crazy to me,
Yeah. So maybe if Zack Snyder actually got to make his vision, maybe it would have been a little different.
See, I don't think Zack Snyder's the guy, though.
Yeah, you don't think that. But it would have been cool to see part 2, right? Be literally Injustice as a movie. Dude, it'd be so sick.
Maybe
not a 4-hour cut of it, but like more.
I don't think the director should be the executive producer. I think there should be some sort of, everyone's point to Jeff Johns. He wrote a lot of the comics. I think he was like the New 52 guy.
What about James Gunn? All the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff.
I still see him as a director. And, he's talented as a writer and director. And
a producer.
They just, maybe. I haven't, what has he like produced?
Peacemaker. You haven't seen it.
I don't want to watch that.
It's so good.
No, I'm not a fan of John. See, that's another like thing with like The Rock has that like juvenile kind of sense of like edginess to him. John Cena has that way more, and it's way more cringy. I don't want to watch him.
He's actually really good in the show. He comes off really decent as a character.
He was all right in the Suicide Squad, but that's another movie where it was okay. It was just fine.
I agree.
And that's James Gunn we're talking about. So
now he's the head of DC. Co-head of DC.
Whatever, man. It's an experiment at this point, so I'm fine with whatever now.
Yeah. All right, back to Dr. Fate, because we got on a long tangent there.
Dr. Fate.
I have nothing else to really say except the other person who could have played him in this, which is Liam Neeson. Would have been interesting. I definitely liked the Pierce Brosnan route.
Both good choices. Qui-Gon Jinn playing Dr. Fate. That sounds, based on Pierce Brosnan's portrayal, because I know nothing about him.
I liked Pierce Brosnan a lot.
Yeah, movie. Pierce Brosnan did a great job. Yeah.
He was probably the best actor in this movie. Right behind our next guy, Hawkman.
Yeah, Aldous Hodge, underrated.
He killed it, dude. Yeah. Like, he did everything right, like, with the character, with what he was given. Mm-hmm. So, props to him. Some of his fight scenes were pretty cool. Like, the way he used his wings, too, were really awesome in the fight.
Yeah.
And speaking of the fights, the way they slowed down everything, I really liked how they did that with certain parts. They didn't do it a lot, but they did it in certain parts where it just kind of slowed the action down a little bit so you could see a little more. And they... Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's one scene in particular where they did that a lot, which I didn't like, but the rest of it, I'm like, this is cool, because they're showing us the context of it, like, especially right when Black Adam, like, comes out of the tomb or whatever, and he just, like, it's like the... Days of Future Past Quicksilver scene.
Days of Future Past Quicksilver scene. And
he just fucks around with everybody in super speed before they can react, and like he puts like the grenade in the guy's mouth.
I love,
and he just ends up just like superhero pose with like the explosion in the background.
dude, I absolutely love that scene. I don't even care what anyone says.
No,
That
yeah, it
was
looks great.
Dope as shit.
The one scene that I didn't love where they just slowed down the action for like certain bits was when they were fighting in like the bedroom, like the second fight between Hawkman and Black Adam, where he's like, that's when they find the crown or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It just seemed like they were just punching just random shit in the room. Like, why are we seeing this? Because at that point I'm thinking like, well, every cut should be motivated by something, and that doesn't have a motivation to me that I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, fair. And with the Days of Future Past scene that they kind of showed here, there's a lot of DC/Marvel references in this movie, and I think they're kind of just poking fun at superhero movies in general.
Yeah,
in this movie.
Are they making fun of Zack Snyder in that moment? Because like that's like his whole thing.
I
the
don't know,
speed
man.
ramping,
That's another thing. They got Eternium, which is their new
That's just
metal, which is vibranium.
Yeah.
There's Dr. Fate, Doctor Strange. There's, I swear to God, I don't remember what scene it was, but I think Black Adam, it was when they were on the ship, when they're all like going somewhere on the ship. He definitely acted like Drax there, and she being like, "Oh, you can't see me." I definitely got a Drax feel from him there.
I like that. Well, like they have this running bit where like his catchphrase right before he kills somebody, and he just can't get it right.
Yep.
He's like telling the Man in Black sent you. My favorite part, I kind of chuckled when he's just like something. What he was like throwing a guy, and like as he's throwing, he was like, "Tell the Man in Black." And never mind, he's gone.
Yeah, he dropped. No, he was on that motorcycle thing. And he dropped the dude. He's like, "Tell the."
Yeah, he's like, "Never mind."
Yeah. There's a Deadpool 2 reference when he dies at the end, and then is talking to his family, and he's like, "It's not your time, Dad." I thought he was gonna push him back, like in Deadpool 2, like where what's her face does that to him. You remember that in Deadpool?
I think I've only seen Deadpool 2 once.
So his, what's her name? Morena Baccarin. She is like, she's dead and everything, and then she pushes him back into the real world. She's like, "You're not here yet." It's, and she pushes it back. I thought that's what was going to happen. And then Gods. So this movie, I think Shazam did it all first. Shazam came in, 2019?
Something like that, yeah.
And now this whole phase 4 has been about different gods and everything in Marvel. And I was like, They're getting very mystical. Yeah. Mysticky. Let's just call it mysticky. I like that. So they got all this mysticky stuff going on here, and spiritual things. I'm like, okay, they're trying to relate, and I like it. They're doing it in a good way. This movie, it works because they're just basing it off of Shazam with different sets of gods and getting their powers from different gods. Like, who in Marvel is in that? Moon Knight. Moon Knight has his powers from gods. There's somebody else too, isn't there?
Other ones.
There are other ones. I just can't.
I mean, technically, Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Because that's her. Like she's from like a sort of demon or whatever.
No.
Thor.
No, who's a
God
vessel
of Thunder.
for a god? There's other people in Marvel that have been vessels for gods. I can't remember.
I don't know. I'm only thinking of Moon Knight.
Fuck. It was in Thor. Shit.
I mean, Jane, technically.
Yeah, Jane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be it.
Technically, that's another one. So like there are these things that are kind of like overlapping within these movies now. I'm just like,
yeah. Well, they're following. Marvel's the trendsetter, DC the follower. Like,
except I don't know about in this case. Technically, 2019 is before all this Phase 4 started.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's what you mean.
So maybe
yeah.
DC kind of maybe started something, but like I guess Marvel probably had this plan as well.
I think Moon Knight and Shazam are like on the same level.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
I mean, I do like Zachary Levi better than Oscar Isaac, but I don't know. Oscar Isaac, like, he has that performance though, playing 3 different people. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think like, I don't know. DC has like a personality problem because it's like Shazam is such a goofy movie,
like Ant-Man.
And then this movie is pretty serious, except for the jokey here and there.
Like Ant-Man Quantumania is going to be.
Yeah. But then you have the Justice League, which is super dark, I think they're too far, and the Batman is like the darkest I think we've ever seen.
Loved it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love the Batman, but like it's, they just gotta figure out their shit, and that's the last I'll talk about that.
Okay. So the other characters, Cyclone and Atom Smasher, they were decent supporting characters. I mean, nothing really stood out. I mean, they had like a thing going on back and forth. It was like, okay.
Yeah, they're just kind of like flirting back and forth. And yeah,
whatever.
Sort of.
Yeah, whatever. What's his face?
The mom. The mom. I forgot her name.
Amon and Amon and Adriana.
Yeah.
So
the kid is awful. I hated him.
Really?
I despised him, dude.
I didn't mind.
We need to do this because we're good people. It was so bad, dude.
Okay.
I hated it, dude. There was this one point when he's like telling all the people to rise up, doing the thing, the Illuminati thing. And he was like, it was so clearly 80 yard. It was so bad. Like he was like, he's clearly like yelling. He's like, we need to like blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, but his voice was like, we need to blah, blah, blah. It was like kind of quiet. Like you could tell he's like in a sound booth.
Oh, I couldn't tell.
I could instantly tell.
I wasn't listening for it, so
it was not matching up. And then they did the same thing with like you could like the when Black Adam is in like he's dying or whatever. He's talking to his son again, and he's talking this ancient language, but his lips are not matching with what he's saying.
Didn't they slow it down? Was it in slow motion? I'm pretty sure.
Maybe, but like
yeah, because he was talking in English like a voiceover, then he was speaking his native tongue in slow motion. It was really weird. I know what you're talking about.
I thought it was so bad, dude.
It was so clearly that was not Dwayne Johnson speaking that language either. I don't know.
But anyway, my main criticism was the kid. I mean, he's just a kid actor. I don't want to bully him, but he's not great. He's not like,
Yeah.
He's not making waves yet.
I mean, yeah.
So, and then also I think he's just kind of really annoying whenever he just shoehorned in, it's like, oh no, he's in trouble. Oh no, we got to go get him.
So he's like the Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't like Lois Lane either because of that. She's just a damsel. Like, like there's a little something to Lois, even if it is just a relationship with Clark. There's nothing to this kid.
Yeah.
And his mom, I didn't even care to learn her name. Adriana.
I had to look it up. So
yeah. Yeah. So these are like our main kind of catalysts for the story. We don't even know their names. We don't even.
I knew Amon. I knew his name because they said it a million fucking times.
The main villain also forgettable.
But yes, so
what was his name? Ishmael.
I think so.
Ezekiel. No, I think it's Ishmael.
I think it was Ishmael.
Yeah. So I could instantly tell he's a bad guy because he's like he did like the jump scare right in the beginning. He's like did you get lost? And like he's like I don't know, it's very predictable in that sense.
Yeah, he's very mysterious.
Yeah.
So
this is also just a tiny thing. The other guy that she's with that goes into the cave and then her brother's out in the van.
Oh yeah.
He like, how does he fall off the cliff?
Well, there's like a hole in there. He must have thrown him off the top or whatever, and then he just fell. Oh wait, I don't know.
No, it's before Black Adam shows up. He just falls off the cliff in front of the van, and then all the bad guys come from behind the van, and then there's nobody on the mountain. Like that would be my first thing to like look up. If I was her brother, I would just be like, "What's that?" And then I would look up.
Yeah,
where he came from.
I don't. Yeah,
that was weird.
I didn't even think about that. It's a movie.
It's a movie.
And speaking of it's a movie, the fucking devil. So Ishmael turns.
Oh my god,
like
it's Mephisto.
This weird, Mephisto confirmed. Yeah. So no, Ishmael like goes into the upside down, and the devil comes out. Basically, is how this happens. It was very very weird.
So it's like the whole time they're looking for this MacGuffin. It's the crown with Eternium.
Yeah.
Right, and inscribed on it is life is the path, the only path to death.
Yes, something like that along those lines.
And then they realize, like, 5 seconds before the third act, like, oh, because this weird exposition, there's something about their underworld is up an upside down mirror to the world.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And then they're like, and then they realize just too late. And then I couldn't not think of Star Wars when because Black Adam's, like, in Shazam's word to get their powers and lose it is Shazam. And then for the devil, for Ishmael, his is Sabak. And I could not think of Star Wars because that's the name of the card game that Han and Lando play for the Millennium Falcon.
Oh my God.
I'm pretty sure it's Sabak, right? It sounds right.
You're the nerd. I don't know.
But anyway, so I just could not think about that.
It was a good fight scene.
It was a good fight scene. I'll give it that. It was fun to watch after a certain point where you just kind of gave up on any real kind of like...
Yeah, just like watch the movie at this point. It's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, you got to let go of your criticisms, just let the movie be itself,
Yeah, and apparently filming is already underway on the second one, like, as we speak. Like, I'm pretty sure they're already getting it going.
As long as they know what they are at this point, that's fine. They're just popcorn movies at this point. It's just another Transformers movie.
Michael Bay directs the next one.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh God.
And this director actually, he's like kind of the Rock's guy now, right? He worked with him on Jungle Cruise.
Jungle Cruise. He did. Oh God, a few other movies.
He did Nonstop.
Nonstop. Yeah, that plane
and then
movie.
The Commuter, which is another Liam Neeson movie.
He also has done The Shallows.
The Shallows. Is that the one with the shark?
It's a shark movie.
I like that one. That's with Blake Lively, right?
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah, so she's like terrorized by a shark.
He did Orphan.
Orphan? Oh, I like that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of good. So, director kind of has some merit. So he's very much in comedy and action.
Yes. So that's why the quick cuts. Makes sense.
I get that.
Yeah.
So it's everybody firing at like average cylinders, if that makes sense. It's a good movie. You're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
If you just let go.
Yeah. Don't think too hard on this one. It's a popcorn movie. It's got some brutal scenes in it. Fantastic. Oh my God.
A lot of like surprisingly still PG-13, but like there's the one he rips off a guy's arm. He tears the devil down the middle.
There's a dude that gets stabbed and thrown off a cliff in like the first 5 minutes.
You see a burning corpse.
Yep. Oh yeah, I forgot about the burning corpse thing. That was I was like, oh
yeah. Just lots and lots of like red shirts dying. Nobody important dies.
Yeah.
But except for Dr. Fate, but that's like
he doesn't really bleed.
Yeah.
He gets punched through the fucking chest, but
and then disintegrates or whatever.
Yeah, because he's an alien too. I don't think he's actually a human.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Well, yeah, because I remember something mentioning like at least the helmet was an alien thing from millions of years ago.
They could have changed it for this too. Like we don't know what his backstory was.
Yeah.
So
it would have been nice to know.
Yeah.
But like, so now I'm thinking like, in the beginning they say, Cyclone, I think is her name. She says to Atom Smasher, don't touch the helmet because it could do some shit to you or whatever. And like it only the helmet lets you see what it wants you to see or something, or only picks the people who see whatever.
Yes, which is why it picked Hawkman.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, is Hawkman going to be the new Dr. Fate or something like that?
That helmet's gone. I think it chose him in that moment.
Oh, okay.
Work, show the million bunches of him or whatever to take down the devil.
It just sounds.
Yeah, when you think about this movie, it makes no sense. But if you don't think about it, just watch it.
Yeah,
it's good.
It just seems super ridiculous.
Turn your brain off kind of movie.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm not excited about
where this is going.
Yeah, where it's gonna go.
Shazam, that's where it's gonna go.
I liked, because I like Zachary Levi, but like, I'm also kind of sick of the whole like, this is another Marvel trend where they're just their villain is the superhero, but evil, same powers, you know, and that's literally Black Adam and Shazam. So, I mean, maybe it could be different because we both care about these are two protagonists going up against each other instead of just a protagonist.
And you know, The Rock can't lose a fight, so
it's legally in his contract.
We already know how
as we know from
go.
Fast 5.
You already know how it's going to go. The second one's going to start off with him beating Superman's ass, and
yeah,
it's going to be dumb as fuck. So it's going to be another turn your brain off kind of movie.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's just kind of seems what they want or what I want them to be, because at this point it's such a mess. Yeah. So, you know,
and then he's gonna beat Shazam's ass, and like he's like, just don't fuck with me.
It's like that meme.
And he'll pick his sides, his battles. That's what he's gonna kind of be.
Yeah,
kind of like a Deadpool.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. At least not as quippy.
Yeah, no, he's.
I did like the whole kind of.
He did get sarcasm.
Yeah.
Eventually.
My only question is, how does he know English?
Yeah, that's something you gotta not think about.
Just like, let's go past it. Yeah,
just let it go. Yeah, so ignoring all the weird facets of this movie and the weird, I can't even think about it. So, this movie, I'd say it's fun. I would give it probably an 80 on the dot. Honestly, it's fun. It's got some brutal scenes. I would put it on like the background or something, or if I just want to like, I don't know. Actually, no, I probably wouldn't want to fall asleep to this movie. I'd be too interested at that point.
There's too many bass drops. I like remember like right when he shows up. Oh, and this is actually another DC thing.
Yeah.
They didn't. There was a really perfectly good moment for Hawkman and Dr. Fate to kind of have a slow moment, or was it with Adriana? I don't know. It was they were in like the apartment and they're like kind of having a slow moment, and they're just about to get into like the meat of like a nice thing, and then the Black Adam just like barges through the door and it's just like like
it's a Marvel thing.
Yeah. And they did a lot on Aquaman. I heard a big criticism on that was because like he just like there weren't any slow moments. Like it was just a big jump scare into the next scene.
Yeah.
So
honestly,
I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, 80 for me.
I'm gonna give it like a 70.
Again, that's not 70 for you.
Yeah. Well, no, I gave
two of the last. Well,
I gave Halloween Ends a 60.
Oh yeah, I gave it a 70.
Yeah,
that's right.
I hated that movie, but yeah, this one I'll give a 70. I give it credit because I do like the idea of Black Adam, where he's like I said before, like his whole backstory. I like that idea where he's getting revenge for his son, and he's not really meant to have these powers, but he has them anyway. I think that's an interesting idea. The execution of the movie, though, is just average. It's not. And it's not blowing me away.
I don't think it falls on the director. I think it falls on the producers and the writers.
Yeah, a lot of times it does.
Yeah.
Because I do think, aside from the editing, which could be a directorial choice, the direction's pretty okay, Like the acting.
They get us into the movie. That's all they need to do.
Yeah. I like the whole I like the little twists here and there. Like that's what keeps me engaged when because I knew from the start, because like the trailer gave this away. He said something like Black Adam saying something like I'm doing this for my son who died, and I'm like, well, because in the beginning of the movie that you think that the son he is the son.
That. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that's not him, and they're not showing the father's face for some reason, and it kind of looks like Dwayne Johnson's outline, but whatever. So I saw it coming, but it was still nice to get that answer finally, because I'm like, how are they going to tie this in? So 70. It's okay. I might not rewatch this. I don't know. I'm not gonna buy it. I know that.
Yeah. Oh my God. I was just thinking about this. In is it in Central Intelligence where you do like a body swap with him in that movie in the very beginning? Have you seen it?
I've seen like a little bit of it. I've seen like the scene where
he's like his face on a kid's.
Yeah. So it's like the background dancer from that one Meghan Trainor video or Taylor Swift video, one of those. Okay. He's like, he was the body double, and they put The Rock's face on him, right?
Yes, I believe. Yeah,
he was like dancing. He's like singing in the locker room.
Yeah, right? Well, that makes sense. But no, the one I did, Yeah, I don't know if it was Central Intelligence, but it was with The Rock, and it would make sense if it was this director that did it, but he did a much better job in this movie of putting The Rock's head on a different body.
Oh yeah.
That's what I was trying to get
He
at.
got that Disney or DC money.
He got the DC money, and I mean Central Intelligence is a comedy, so
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, did we mention that this is a New Line Cinema?
Yeah, which is
production?
a Warner Discovery company.
Yeah.
So
I was new. I didn't see that.
I didn't know that happened either. I
I
guess
was just kind of like New Line Cinema.
maybe New Line was owned by Warner Brothers, and then when Discovery bought them out. I mean,
Maybe.
I think that might have been it.
I thought. Oh, right. Yeah, because yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Cool. So like it was. I saw a Time Warner company, and I'm thinking Time Warner Cable, but like that's Warner Brothers.
Yep.
That's just, So
Right. But yeah, so I think that about wraps up Black Adam for us. Anything else? Any last thoughts?
I'm good.
All right. We're Seen It Before. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok with the handle @SeenItBeforecast. That's SCENE It Beforecast. And on Twitter with the handle SIB_pod. I'm Dan.
I'm Danny. You can find me on Instagram @Danny_Was. My letterboxd and serialized at DJ Was, or my YouTube channel, which is just Danny Was.
But yeah, so until next time, it's been an honor as usual, and I guess we'll see you next time. That was redundant as fuck. I'm sorry.
I guess.